Very good morning, students. Myself, Vijay Lakshmi, working as assistant professor in ISL Engineering College. In the previous session, we have completed Unit 5. So the last topic in Unit 5 was the clean technology and biodiesel synthesis. The name of the synthesis is the trans-esterification process. So in Unit 5, we have only 3 topics. One is green chemistry principles, composites, trans-esterification process, and along with that we have one more topic, that is the clean technology. So today I'm going to explain you the important questions for the second mid examination. So today I'm going to cover all the short answer questions. In the second mid examination, I'm going to give 2.5 units, 2.5 units. Yes, so let us start the short answer questions. These short answer questions are repeatedly asked in the previous years. Yes. So the first question is differentiate thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. Here thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics, these two comes under plastics. These are the types of the plastics. Plastics are nothing but the polymers which are having the intermolecular forces are moderate. Yes, so these are having the moderate intermolecular forces. That means the intermolecular forces are not very strong and not very weak. Yes, the plastics are having moderate intermolecular forces. But whereas the fibers and rubbers, these are also comes under the polymers. There are 3 types of polymers. Based on the intermolecular forces. One is plastics, rubbers, and the fibers. Yes, so these 3 comes under based on the intermolecular forces. Fibers are having the strong intermolecular forces, which are having a strong covalent bond between the monomer units. Rubbers are having the weak intermolecular forces. Because of the weak intermolecular forces, these can be stretched twice or thrice to its original length. But whereas the plastics, these are having the moderate intermolecular forces, and these are intermediate to the rubbers and the fibers. Yes. So let us see the classification of plastics. The plastics are classifying into 2 types. One is thermoplastics and the thermosetting plastics based on the nature. So now let us see the differences between thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. Thermoplastics are nothing but the plastics which are affected by the heat. These plastics are affected by the heat. That means once if we heat the plastics, these are becoming soft. Again on cooling, these are becoming hard. Again on heating become soft. Again on cooling, these are becoming hard. That is called thermoplastic. The plastics which is affected by the heat. But whereas thermosetting plastic is nothing but these are setting polymers. That means once set into particular shape, these are not becoming soft, even if we heat the plastics. Yes, that is thermosetting. So let us see the differences. Thermoplastics are produced by the additional polymerization. So in which type of polymerization we can synthesize the thermoplastics? We can synthesize the thermoplastics in the additional polymerization. But thermosetting plastics are synthesizing by the condensational polymerization. Yes, you know what is additional, what is condensational polymerization? Yes, additional polymerization means the polymerization process, the monomer units are adding to one to another. But whereas in the condensational polymerization, there is a loss of groups or molecules like water. When the monomers are adding to one to another, there is a loss of groups or molecule takes place in the condensational polymerization. That is condensational and additional. So where the thermoplastics are synthesizing in the additional polymerization. Thermosetting plastics are synthesizing in the condensational polymerization. And the resins are made of long chain attached by weak van der Waals forces of attraction. Yes. So here resins are nothing but polymers. The polymers are made of long chains attached by weak van der Waals forces of attraction. So in between the monomer units, there is a weak van der Waals force in the thermoplastics. But whereas in thermosetting, the resins have three-dimensional network structure connected bonds. That means the thermosetting plastics are somewhat stronger than the thermoplastics because thermoplastics are having linear structure, but whereas thermosettings are having the three-dimensional structure. On heating, they become soft, and on cooling becomes stiff. Chemical nature won't change. Yes. So whatever, if we heat and cool also, these are not changing its chemical nature. Yes, that means this is not affected by the heat. The chemical nature is not affected by the heat here. So what is thermoplastics? On heating they become soft, on cooling they become stiff. But here on heating they become stiff and hard. No change on cooling, chemical nature changes. Whereas in the thermosetting plastics, the chemical nature will be changing, and when we are heating, these are becoming stiff and hard. And even when we are cooling, it is not becoming hard. Yes, they can be remolded. Thermoplastics can be remolded, but whereas thermosetting plastics cannot be remolded. Yes, you know what is meant by the remolded. So whatever the desired shape we need, we can get into that. Yes, so we can get into the desired shape for the thermoplastics. But we can't remold the thermosetting plastics. Once the shape has fixed, we can't change the shape of the plastic in thermosetting. Because once set means they are permanently set. And scrap can be used. That means these can be recycled. Thermoplastics can be recycled. But here scrap cannot be used. Yes, thermosettings cannot be recycled. The resins are soft, weak, and less brittle. But here the resins are usually hard, strong, tough, and more brittle. They are easily soluble in some organic substances like PVC, polyethylene. But here, these are not soluble in the organic solvents. Thermosetting plastics are not soluble in the organic solvents. These contain long chain polymer with no cross linkage. It means that the structure of the the structure of the thermoplastics is a straight chain. But here they have three-dimensional network structure. That means these are having the three-dimensional structure. These are not having a straight chain. Yes. So that is the differences between thermoplastics and the thermosetting plastics. Yes. So the first one, additional and condensational. And here these are having weak van der Waals forces, but these are having a strong intermolecular forces. It is on heating becomes soft and cooling, and on cooling it becomes hard. But it is on heating it becomes tough and hard. And here on cooling, it is not changing its chemical nature. Not chemical nature, it is not changing its state. And it can be remolded, it cannot be remolded. It can be recycled, it cannot be recycled. And it is soft, weak, and less brittle, but it is very hard, strong, tough, more brittle. It is soluble in the organic solvent, it is not soluble in the organic solvent. It is having a straight chain structure, it is having the three-dimensional structure. And the next one, define octane number and cetane number. So in the last semester, they asked this question. This is the repeated question, octane number and cetane number in the external examination. Last time they asked this question for the long answer question for 9 marks. Yes. So it is expected either for the short answer question or for the long answer question. But what is the use of octane number and cetane number? Octane number is used to know the knocking characteristics of petrol, but whereas cetane number is using to know the ignition characteristics of diesel sample. Yes, so that is the use of octane number and cetane. First, let us see the octane number. To define octane number, we are using two compounds. One of the compound is having more knocking characteristics and other compound is having the least knocking characteristics. Like that, we are choosing the two compounds here. One of the compound is having more knocking characteristics and other compound is having the least knocking characteristics. By using these two compounds, we are checking the quality of the petrol. Yes. So here, for example, let us take one of the sample. One sample octane number is just assume 8. Yes. So based on the octane number also, we can tell what is the ratio of the two substances in the petrol. Yes. But here we are taking the two compounds. What are the two compounds here? One is N-heptane and another one is the isooctane. We are choosing the two compounds. Here one of the compound is having the more knocking characteristics and other compound is having the least knocking characteristics. Here N-heptane is having more knocking characteristics, whereas isooctane is having the least knocking characteristics. But here octane number is inversely proportional to knocking. Yes, octane number is inversely proportional to knocking. That means if the more knocking characteristics, least octane number. If least knocking characteristics, more octane number. So what I said now, isooctane is having the least knocking characteristics. N-heptane is having the maximum knocking characteristics. That means N-heptane is having the least octane number. Isooctane is having the more octane number. So we are assuming that N-heptane octane number will be 0 and isooctane octane number will be 100 for the 100% of the synthetic petrol. Yes. Let us assume one of the compound octane number is 80. Yes. If octane number is 80, that means there is 80% of isooctane, 20% of N-heptane. Let us assume one more sample. Let us take another sample. The another sample octane number, just let us assume 100. That means 100% of isooctane, 0% of N-heptane. Let us take one more sample. The other sample octane number is 50. That means 50% of isooctane, 50% of N-heptane. Yes. So here, by assuming, even by calculating also, we are getting the ratio is same. Yes. So based on that, we are giving the definition of octane number. Octane number of gasoline. Gasoline is nothing but synthetic petrol. Octane number of gasoline is simply defined with reference to N-heptane and isooctane. N-heptane produces maximum knocking and has been assigned octane number of 0, whereas isooctane produces maximum knocking and has been assigned octane number 100. Yes, that I explained. So thus octane number of petrol is defined as the percentage of isooctane presenting a mixture of isooctane and N-heptane. This mixture knocking characteristics and our sample gasoline knocking characteristics will be same. That is the definition of octane number. Yes. Now let us see the cetane number. What is the use of cetane number? Cetane number is using to know the ignition characteristics or knocking characteristics of diesel oil. The cetane number of diesel is equivalent to octane number of gasoline. So what is the use of octane number? It is used to find out the knocking characteristics of gasoline. whereas cetane number is using to know the knocking characteristics of diesel sample. That is only the difference, but both are almost similar. Even for defining cetane number, even for expressing cetane number, also we are using two compounds. One of the compound is having more ignition characteristics and another compound is having the least ignition characteristics. Same like octane number, here also we are choosing the two compounds. One is alpha methyl naphthalene and the N-hexadecane. One of the compound is having more ignition characteristics and other compound is having the least ignition characteristics. Yes. So let us see what are the two compounds we are using here. Two hydrocarbons, namely alpha methyl naphthalene and N-hexadecane, are specified standards. Since N-hexadecane has low ignition lag, its cetane number is fixed as 100. Yes, hexadecane is having low ignition, cetane number will be 100. And alpha methyl naphthalene has long ignition lag and cetane number is 0. Yes. So same here, ignition is inversely proportional to cetane number. N-hexadecane is having least ignition, so cetane number 100. Alpha methyl naphthalene is having maximum ignition, so cetane number will be 0. Yes. So same like that, we are defining the cetane. The cetane number of diesel oil is defined as the percentage of N-cetane. Cetane means N-hexadecane in a mixture of N-cetane and alpha methyl naphthalene. This mixture ignition characteristics, diesel oil ignition characteristics are same. That is cetane number and octane number. The next question, write the composition of LPG and CNG. This question also asked in the recent question paper. So what is the composition of LPG and what are the applications of LPG? Your composition is nothing but what are the chemicals are present in the LPG and what are the chemicals are present in the CNG and what are the applications of LPG and CNG. So you know what is the full form of LPG and CNG? LPG is liquefied petroleum gas. It is obtained from the crude petroleum oil. Yes, same like kerosene, gasoline, how we are extracting these. Even in that process only, we are getting the LPG also as one of the byproduct here. So it is obtained from the crude petroleum oil. It mainly contains gaseous compound known as isobutane and butane. It is containing isobutane and butane. Popularly, it is known as a cooking gas. It is the best fuel for domestic purposes and in laboratories. It is available in the cylinders. It is also supplied through pipes in big cities. Yes, this is about LPG. And CNG, the full form of CNG is compressed natural gas. It is produced along with the crude oil. Same like LPG, CNG also synthesizing from the crude oil. It mainly contains methane gas. It has become popular fuel for vehicles like three-wheeler scooters, cars, and buses. So nowadays, almost all the vehicles, the people are preferring to use the CNG because it is pollution free. It is cheap fuel as well as pollution free. It is used as a substitute for the petrol. So instead of the petrol, many of the people are using a CNG for the vehicles, especially in the automobile industry. In the internal combustion engines, the CNG is using instead of the petrol, in the place of the petrol. So let us see what is the difference in the composition. You know what is mean with the composition now? Composition is nothing but the chemicals present in it. So what are the chemicals present in it? LPG is obtained from crude petroleum oil. It mainly contains gaseous compounds known as isobutane and butane. Yes. So what are the chemicals present in isobutane? LPG, isobutane and butane. And along with that, it is also contain butane and propane also. While CNG is produced along with the crude oil, it mainly contains methane gas. Yes. But along with the methane, it is also containing carbon dioxide, nitrogen. Yes, so these are also present in the CNG. That is the CNG and LPG. The next question is define HCV and LCV. This time I'm expecting this question. High calorific value and low calorific value. But before that, what is meant by the calorific value? Calorific value is nothing but whatever the heat is releasing when the fuel is burning. Yes, whatever the amount of heat is releasing when the fuel is burning is called the calorific value. That heat energy value is called the calorific value. This calorific value is classifying into two types. One is called the high calorific value and another one is the low calorific value. High calorific value is also called as the gross calorific value. Low calorific value is also called as the net calorific value. High calorific value is defined as the total amount of heat liberated when unit mass or unit volume of the fuel has been burnt completely. And here the products of combustion are cooled down to the room temperature. Yes, just I will explain the high calorific value and low calorific value. Already I explained in the regular classes that how to remember high calorific value and low calorific value. High calorific value can be remembered easily that the calorific value in the closed combustion chamber. Just let us assume this is the beaker, but just let us assume this is one of the combustion chamber which is closed. This is the closed combustion chamber. So when the fuel is burning, just let us assume fuel has taken here and the fuel is burning in the closed combustion chamber. So when the fuel is burning, the fuel is composed with some elements, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, and nitrogen. But what is meant by the calorific value? The amount of heat energy released when a unit mass or unit volume. Unit mass is nothing but 1 gram. Unit volume means 100. When unit mass or unit volume of fuel is burnt completely, that amount of heat energy is called calorific. But here, what is happening here? After burning completely, the products of combustion are cooled down to room temperature. Here, when the fuel is burning, the carbon will be converted to carbon dioxide. Hydrogen will be converted to water vapor. And oxygen, ozone, sulfur, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen, nitrogen dioxide. Yes, but here, all these products are forming in the closed combustion chamber. But when the products are cooled, what are the products here? Carbon dioxide, water, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide. These are all the products. When we are cooling this, one of the product is easily converts to the liquid when we are cooling. What is that? That is water vapor. So when it is cooling, the water vapor is converts to water. We know how the water is converts to water. How the water is converts to water? By heating. It is reverse process. That means when water vapor is converts to water, heat will be liberated. Yes, when water vapor is converts to water, heat will be liberated. This heat will be included to the calorific value. So when it is including, the calorific value will be increased. So that is called the high calorific value. And just remember here, in the low calorific value, here I'm explaining low calorific value also. Just remember the calorific value in the open combustion chamber. When the heat is releasing in the open combustion chamber, all these products will be escaping to the environment. So the calorific value will be reduced. That reduced calorific value is called the low calorific value. So now let us see the definitions of high calorific value and low calorific value. High calorific value is defined as the total amount of heat liberated when unit mass or unit volume of the fuel has been burned completely and the products of combustion are cooled down to the room temperature. Low calorific value is defined as the net heat produced when unit mass or unit volume of fuel is burned completely and the combustion products are allowed to escape. That is about high calorific value and low calorific value. And the next question is define composites and write its applications. In the day before yesterday class, I explained you about the composites. Yes, composites are one of the new materials. These materials are synthesizing by adding two or more than two different materials. By mixing two or more than two different materials, we are synthesizing a new compound. That new material is called the composites. But why are we synthesizing the new material? Because to reach our requirements, we are synthesizing the new compound. Wherever the single materials are not suitable, there we can use our composites because these composites are more stronger than the individual materials. So let us see about the composites. A composite material is a material which is produced from two or more constituent materials. These constituent materials have notably dissimilar chemical or physical properties and are merged to create a material with properties unlike the individual elements. Yes. So whatever the constituent materials, whatever the individual materials we are using, those two materials, chemical and physical properties are different. But when we mix these two, we are getting one of the compound which is having the different chemical and physical properties to the individual elements or individual materials. Within the finished structure, the individual elements remain separate and distinct, distinguishing composites from mixtures and solid solutions. Yes, that means we can distinguish the two individual materials easily in the composites. We can identify. And applications. Applications are very, very important. Composite materials are generally used for buildings, bridges, and structures such as boat hulls, swimming pool, panels, racing car bodies, shower stalls, bathtubs, storage tanks, imitation granite, and cultured marble sinks and countertop. Yes, so these are the various applications of the composite materials. Even in the racing bicycles and racing cars, and in the automobiles, even in the car bodies, we are using the composite material. This question also asked in the last time. This is repeated question mark. Every time they will ask this question. And the next question, explain atom economy. Where you have seen the atom economy, we have seen the atom economy in Unit 5 in under green chemistry principles. This is the second principle of the green chemistry. The main aim of atom economy is to synthesize 100% of the product. Then we can get the 100% of the product. If we are avoiding the formation of the byproducts or the additional products, we can get 100% of the product. Yes, that is the main aim of the atom economy. Synthetic methods should be designed to maximize the incorporation of all materials used in the process into the final product. That means whatever the individual materials we are using, those two individual materials completely should convert to the final product. Like that, we have to design the method. We have to choose a synthetic method. Atom economy is the conversion efficiency of a chemical process in terms of all atoms involved and the desired product produced. Yes, whatever the atoms we are using, all the atoms should be involved completely to get 100% of the product. That is atom economy. Atom economy is an important concept of green chemistry philosophy and one of the most widely used metrics for measuring the greenness of a process of synthesis. So you no need to write, only this much is enough for the atom economy. And the next question, this question also asked in the previous time. Write the reaction of transesterification process. I asked only reaction part. I did not ask explain transesterification process, write the reactants and products in the transesterification product. Just I asked the reaction part of the transesterification. This is the reaction part of the trans esterification. Yesterday class only we have seen the trans esterification process. What is trans esterification? The synthetic method of the biodiesel is the trans esterification. In the trans esterification process, the animal waste, the cooking oil waste, or the plants, that is vegetable matter or vegetable oil, these are converts to the biodiesel in the presence of alcohol and the catalyst. And what is the catalyst here? The catalyst is maybe acid or the base. Yes, this is trans esterification. This is triglyceride, which is present in animal waste or cooking oil waste or the vegetable oil. And this to this, we are mixing the alcohol. Here, alcohol is maybe methyl alcohol or ethyl alcohol in the presence of the catalyst. But where the bond is breaking here, where the bond is breaking, here the bond is breaking, here the bond is breaking, here the bond is breaking. And the bond in methyl alcohol breaking between O and H, CH3OH. The bond between these two is breaking. So hydrogen comes from here to here, hydrogen comes from here to here, hydrogen comes from here to here. That means it is reacting 3 moles. And this OCH3 will be attached to C double bond. OCH3 attached to this C double bond. This OCH3 attacking to this C double bond. So we are getting 3 moles of RC double bond OCH3 and glycerol. This glycerol is one of the byproduct. This is using in the cosmetics and in the oleo synthesis, in the, even in the soaps also we are using the glycerol. Yes, this is about the reaction part of the trans esterification. So with this, we have completed all the short answer questions. So tomorrow I will explain you the long answer questions. Thank you.